Good afternoon and welcome back to the Riverside Stadium for the second half of the bottom four final series. Tuggeranong United versus Woden-Weston FC. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me is Steve Forshaw. Steve, Monero Panthers already in the bottom four grand final decider with a comprehensive 5-0 win over Monero Panthers. Woden-Weston know that avoiding a heavy defeat will see them there as well. Best way to make sure for certain, of course, is to win the game or get a point.
Absolutely. Attack's always the best form of defence, so they say, and I think the form they're in, they would be silly to try and change the way they're playing. So if they can go out and get something out of this game, then they get another game next week, and I'm sure that's exactly what they want to do.
It was 5-0 in that game, and that means that Woden-Weston's plus one goal difference can now go to -4, so that means that obviously a huge turnaround is needed here in the Southside derby, which is very unlikely to go in that direction because there's never much between these two.
No, I think the rivalry between these two clubs means that they're always going to be competitive matches. Woden come into this game in the best form of everybody in the competition other than Canberra FC, so they'd want to keep that run going. They had a really disappointing start to the season with 5 games, 5 losses. But then 2 games towards the end of the season and then into this bottom 4 challenge, they really started to hit their strap. So they'll be looking to keep that momentum going. And they've been playing some decent football, some really good individual performances and a really well-structured team under Yuli De Silva. So I'm expecting them to at least be competitive and get something out of the game.
Yeah, you mentioned that run of form. They're unbeaten in their last 4. Prior to that, they had 1 win in the previous 20 games. So it's been some turnaround for Yuli De Silva.
Yeah, nothing like consistency, is there?
Well, they've been building towards this. Yeah. Teams getting ready to come out. Let's take a look at the sides. Tuggeranong United can't make their season last any longer than this afternoon. As you would expect, therefore, Mitch Stevens, all change. Half a dozen of them for him are from the team that lost to Tuggeranong, to Canberra Olympic 2-1 last week. 6 changes. Wiseman, Walsh, Moore, Cashmore, Kitty and Fulton come in. They line up with a 4-1-3-2 formation. Jacob Wiseman in goal. Back for Sean, Kitty, Regan Walsh, Cowan Doherty and Sam Smith is the usual. It's all changed in midfield. Harrison Bunell playing at number 6. Brandon Cashmore making his debut after a long absence. Lawson Moore, the youngster, coming in as well. Ewan Peterkin as a false 9. Daniel Fulton and Andrew Slavic up front.
Yeah, I think part of Mitch's thinking is obviously he's looking forward to next year, playing some of the younger players, but also to make the game competitive today, to sort of give it the sort of intensity it needs. He's brought in some of the younger players because they'll bring enthusiasm, they'll bring energy, they'll bring a little bit of excitement, they'll want to impress. So we get a Tuggeranong team that's going to go out there and try and win the game rather than just go through the motions. But the changes he's made are encouraging from a future perspective, and some of the players that he's brought in that didn't start last week, like Fulton, who came on and did very well, are probably worthy of a start anyway.
On the bench, Daniel Felici, John O'Churick, Eddie Coggan and James Benevento, so a bit of experience there.
Yeah, it gives them a little bit of depth in strength, or strength in depth, whichever one you want to say it. And if they need to, they can give some of those boys a run and try and get something out of the game. But I expect them to be competitive anyway. And, I'm looking forward to a decent game.
On the other hand, Yuli De Silva, Woden-Weston, consistency. 1 change for him. Connor Bill comes in for Joe Boak at left back. The only change from the side, which won 2-1 against Woden-Weston all over the place, against Monero Panthers last weekend. William Lejeune in goal. Back 4 then of Chris McEwen, Lachlan Fields, Adam DiFranceschi and Bill. Midfield 3, Blaise Vlaslovsky, who scored a brace last week, Nicola Barisic and Roy Anderson. Up front, Martin Barisic, Jay Selden and Miguel De Silva.
No need for Yuli to be making wholesale changes. He's in the middle of a decent run. He's given some of the lads that have been able to turn the corner for him justifiable reward by leaving them in the starting 11. And they'll be looking forward to a final match next week, providing they can get past this Tuggeranong side.
Settled bench as well. Joe Boak goes to the bench because Bill's in the team. Martin Deng, Jackson Paisley, Fakadi Manda and Callum Cook amongst the substitutes. Delphina Demoski in the middle, Shane Lyston-Smith and Jordan King on the line. Just a reminder, as long as Woden-Weston don't lose by 5, they're going to be in the final next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite a dead rubber, but it's close too. But these two teams are full of pride and they'll want to do well.
Well, it's a Southside derby, isn't it? And that also has its own connotations about it. Daniel Fulton with the early chase. The last 4 meetings, if you want a guide, have finished 2-0. 3 times in favour of Tuggeranong and once in favour of Woden-Weston. In fact, 4 of the last 5 have been 2-0. Tuggeranong 4 times and Woden once.
Well, we should get a result then. I mean, you missed the little bounce off the corner flag then, didn't you?
I was too busy looking at my notes. Chance for Sean Kiddie to line up his first long throw of the afternoon. Steve Forshaw has happy memories of one of these.
Yeah.
William Lejeune a little bit more savvy to it than the South Hobart goalkeeper.
Yeah, Zach Munster will be, if he's watching, will remember that with some fondness.
I think everybody connected with the club will remember that with some fondness. Tuggeranong have a great record against their Southside rivals. They've lost just once in the last 7 fixtures. 5 wins and 1 draw.
Sorry, I was just going to say, different kettle of fish now with this Woden side.
Absolutely, this side has been unbeaten, as you said, in 4 matches. And believe it or not, this is the best run in their competition since a 9-game unbeaten run in 2013. Back in the day, you might remember, Steve, a spell that included American striker Derek Ullman scoring 29 times in 18 matches. And the midfield and defence in that Woden Valley side was marshalled by none other than Mitch Stevens.
And I think that was under Dean of Greenwich, wasn't it?
Certainly was, and it was quite a phenomenal piece of goal scoring from Derek Ullman, wasn't it? Couldn't buy a goal when he first came to the capital, and then all of a sudden was on the bench in a reserve grade game against Olympic, bagged a couple then, got it on the first grades, and just didn't stop. All kinds of goals, free kicks, penalties, flicks, headers.
Oh, he was scoring for fun. But at one stage, I think Woden were actually considering sending him back because it hadn't worked out from the start, but he came good with a bang. And they could do with somebody like that again today.
Yeah, haven't seen a run of goal scoring like that in a number of years in the capital. Derek Ullman still keeps in touch with the games here, so if he's listening to this or watching it, shout out to him. He's still banging in goals in America, hopefully.
Yeah, that's sort of Thomas James territory, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'm sure, look, if he wants to get back over here, there'll be a cluster of clubs that'll be keen to see if he's still got it. Tuggeranong United amongst them, I'd imagine. Struggled for goals this year. Daniel Fulton.
So close to being in the top 4, though.
Kiddie swings that in towards Lawson Moore. Yeah, they were seconds away. Ryan Keir breaking their hearts at Deakin Stadium, equalising in a match in which they also missed a penalty as well. Interesting to see how this midfield triumvirate goes with Bunell, Moore and Cashmore.
There's no reason to expect it'll do anything other than well. They're enthusiastic, they move about. Brunel's had a really good season.
Peterkin finds Smith, lifts it in towards Fulton. Nodded clear by Bill. Selden, who's had a great season.
Yeah, he's done very, very well.
Just missing a goal, isn't he? Everything but. 9 games this year.
Yeah, only a matter of time for somebody like him. He'll get goals.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? De Franceschi, who's been ever present at the back for Woden-Weston as well.
In terms of defending, if you want a no-nonsense solid defender, he's a tremendous stopper of attacks.
Peterkin inside the penalty area, looks to lay it off, and Lachlan Fields gets rid of it. We were looking at potential of a possible charity game, top 4, bottom 4, and if you looked at these teams out there and you put maybe a David Jenkins next to a De Franceschi, that's a pretty solid looking central defensive partnership. And you got Eli Howell that you can use in there as well.
Yeah. Oh, you got with Jenkins you get a footballer as well. With De Franceschi you get that absolute defender first. And although to be fair, Adam has actually played a lot more football this year. His distribution's been a lot better than perhaps it has been in the past. This has been his stock ball.
Cue, right on cue, mate. Straight out to Mate Barasic, who's had a good run in this team too. He's made a difference since he's came. Got himself a goal as well in the 3-1 win over Canberra Olympic. Cashmore. Studying with ADFA, Brandon Cashmore.
They've had a bit of luck with plays out of ADFA, Tuggeranong.
Well, Mitch Stevens does have to look outside the normal channels, he tells us, because he shops at a different store to most people.
Yeah.
And Brandon Cashmore, they're interested to see him. I mean, hopefully he's pretty fit. Looks sharp.
He'll be fit enough.
Vlaslovsky, who got himself a brace of goals last week. Well taken ones as well. That's his first goals of the season, and he is 3rd in NPL football.
Interesting to see how he goes up against Cam Doherty, who's moved into more central position today. He has been playing as a 6, but he's playing alongside Regan Walsh in the middle of the back 4 today, so it should be an interesting challenge.
Well, we were talking last week about how tall we think Blaise Vlaslovsky was, and he is actually told me he's 6'6". So he is a good target for Woden-Weston.
Well, he's the same as height as me, apart from a foot.
Same build as well, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe many moons ago.
Many moons ago. Many moon pies ago.
Like we all have a pie when we get in the commentary box, don't we? That's a reason why we're here. Vlaslovsky's touch.
Been really impressed with young De Silva, Yuli's young bloke. He's done really well. Started off a little slowly, was playing in the 23s on the cusp of first grade, but since he's sort of established himself, he's done very, very well.
Well, Tuggeranong force a corner. Cam Doherty released from defensive duties to go and take it. We had a joke with him beforehand, weren't we, about his lack of goals. 103rd NPL game this afternoon. Yet to find a goal. I'd love the fact if Tuggeranong got a spot kick to let Cam Doherty have a bash. Surely in a game that means nothing to them, they give him a go.
Probably have to send people over the fence, just in case.
It's a bit harsh. See what he can do from a corner. It's a good one. Lejeune, two-fisted punch away. Cashmore looking to pick up the pieces. He's misjudged the bounce though. Kitty got there ahead of Selden. Doherty's going to get a second chance to release Fulton. Di Franceschi across to tidy up for the Wanderers. Like I said, Southside derby, anything could happen.
And with people like Doherty and Kitty in the Tuggeranong team, they're just not going to lie down and let them roll over the top of them. They've got too much history with Tuggeranong to sort of make it a walkover.
Bunel looking to force his way past Nikola Barasic, who stood strong. Roy Anderson.
He's had a decent season too, hasn't he?
He's found the goals to come by last few weeks. Roy Anderson, 3 goals in his NPL career, all 3 against Canberra Olympic in 2 different games. Not bad to have that on your resume.
A couple of really important ones too. He got 1 or 2 against Olympic, didn't he? In the 3-1 win.
2 in the 3-1, and then he got the one here in the 1-1 draw in the final series. Cashmore's touch to Bunel. Doherty at the back. Under pressure from Barasic and forced to go all the way home.
Sensible play from Doherty.
Walsh. Although with Lawson, Moore almost left that short.
Well, we can say after 7 or 8 minutes that both teams are going to play with a decent amount of intensity, and as a young Wiseman.
Well, he's not happy.
No.
It twisted something, or he got caught a little bit late there.
No, that's a free kick. That's what the free kick's for.
They've got James Benevento on the bench.
He had a start a couple of weeks ago, didn't he?
He did. He started last week. His one start of the season, he was in goals for the reserves this morning, the under-23s. Lachlan Fields with a header. Connor Bill restored to the lineup this week. Was just carrying a slight knock last week, which put Joe Bokin, who we refer to as the world's tallest fullback.
Yeah, good lad, Joe. Good lad. He was at Belconnor when I was with the 18s and did really, really well for us. His brother's with Melbourne City. Timmy, but both great boys, really good boys.
Barasic looks for McEwen. Smith in the way, and here's a chance for Slavic. Slows things down to wait for support. Sam Smith, that's an awful touch from him. Fair to say he's had better. McEwen can't force it past Slavic. Looks for Bunel. Picks out Lawson Moore. Opens up for him briefly. Moore runs into Connor Bill. Kitty's going to take over though. Walsh, Tuggeranong have started well here.
Yeah, they have. It's all Tuggeranong at the moment. They're winning the ball high up the pitch.
Peterkin, it's opened up for him on the far post. Swings it in. Lachlan Fields got rid of it. Bunel again picking up everything. It's falling in the middle of the park at the moment. Smith tried to force it through a gap. Moore recovers. Kitty's there again. Too strong. Looks for Moore. Gets a touch. Comes for Slavic. Tried to open it on his left foot. breaks for more again, and a little free kick for a foul on De Silva. Lawson Moore felt that one on his ankle as well.
Good pressure though from Tuggeranong, got themselves into some dangerous areas around the edge of that penalty area. Couldn't find that final pass, and just perhaps lacking that little bit of composure, a little bit of quality in those areas, but a good start from them.
Only goalless game in 20 meetings in all competitions since NPL commenced in 2013 was in the Federation Cup semi-final between these two in 2013. Tuggeranong won that one 3-2 on penalties, so there's always goals in this game. Woden-Weston, well, prior to the last 3 games in which they've scored 6 times, they'd only scored 7 in the previous 12, so it's been some turnaround for them at both ends of the park.
Absolutely. And
it's funny how things come along in clutches like that, isn't it?
It's football, as we all know, is a strange game, but you can go to a place like Nijong and absolutely get stampeded. Or you can go there and pinch a 1-0 result, and it just changes your season. That's what's happened with Woden.
Well, Moore's getting some treatment here. Just a reminder that earlier in the season, Tuggeranong did win 2-0 against Woden-Weston at Melrose Synthetic. Harry Truman with a brace of goals in that one. Interestingly enough, Stephen, we talked about it in the last game about how teams around Canberra can change a lot. The 2 league matches last year, Woden won 2-0 in round 8 and Tuggeranong won 2-0 in round 17. The 4 goal scorers for the teams last year aren't at their club anymore. Joe Lolis and Alex Olarigby for Woden-Weston, and Hamid Pojahishkar and Asosa Hegi for Tuggeranong. So that just goes to prove, that everyone moves around a lot in Canberra. Sticking around too often doesn't happen.
It's a volatile marketplace. The last I heard, Joe Lawless was going to Tigers, did he not?
I think he was supposed to go. He didn't play there though this season, so whether he picked up a knock or whether something happened to him, didn't play at all this year. Peterkin slides it down the channel for Slavic. Looks to pull it back. Fields was there. Well, neatly done to step over a flying Peterkin as well. Yeah,
good defending. Positioned himself well and nice and composed, bringing the ball out of defence.
Used to play for a cup, these two. The South Side
Mount Taylor
Trophy.
Cup?
Yeah, the Mount Taylor Cup. Yeah, I don't know if that's still a thing.
Yeah, don't know.
Didn't seem to present it this year, whether it was presented at Melrose.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably not allowed to because of COVID.
Well, COVID's made a big difference, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's made a massive difference. We've mentioned this a lot, though, and we're very grateful that we can actually play some football.
Yeah.
That we are here and that we can see some...
It's a bit like the Spice Girls, though, isn't it, COVID? Everybody's doing well except Victoria.
There you go. I'm sure she'll argue the point there.
On the way to the bank, probably.
Yeah. Don't think the Beckhams are shy of a quid or 2, are they? Bunell steps in. McEwen back to Di Franceschi. Looks for Selden. Haven't been able to get going, have they?
No.
Fulton got a half a yard here. Daniel Fulton, that's usually all he needs.
Won the corner.
Set piece opportunity for Tuggeranong again. Cam Doherty will wander over to take this.
This is the burden of being a left pegger. Got to make these sort of runs diagonally into the corner to knock a ball in, and then
it's a good 25 metres further forward from centre back to defensive mid as well, isn't it? So
absolutely.
Well, can Doherty pick out one of the 5 Tuggeranong shirts inside the penalty area? Plenty of Woden-Weston shirts back though as well.
But still leaving 3 further up the pitch.
Swung in towards Lawson Moore, who's recovered from his injury. Touch from Cashmore. Looks for Moore.
Good turn.
Nice feet to get away from Vlaslovsky. Stretches out one of those long legs as part of the 6'6" frame to concede the corner on this side. Slavic will no doubt take this one, the in-swinger.
Can't see why Cam can't jog over and take this one.
He'd be done for the season.
Oh, he's gone in the box. He's looking for his first goal.
Slavic to deliver.
Oh.
Massively overhit. Should have stayed where he was, Cam Doherty.
Yeah, disappointing. Need better service than that, but they've made a good start, Tuggeranong, and
they've turned the weather on as well, Steve. The sun's out, shining.
Out.
Bit different to our stroll this morning for coffee in the rain. Kitty.
But if anybody thought that it was going to be a one-way
Smith couldn't keep it in.
No, if anybody thought it was all going to be one way and the Woden had run away with this, then Tuggeranong had given light to that.
De Silva. First time we've seen the Wanderers really venture into the Tuggeranong half. McEwen, Vlaslovsky, Fields lofts it forward into the sunshine. Sean Kinney watched it all the way and then gives it to Vlaslovsky. Typical Kinney though, wins it back.
Yeah, he's a bit unlucky too. No, not a great pass to turn possession over, but he works his socks off to get it back and then ping for a, well, so we say a soft free kick.
Nikola Barisic to take. Chris McEwen, who ended that goal drought against Canberra, Croatia. 440 odd minutes.
At Melrose, yeah?
Certainly was. Selden looking for his first, fires it goalwards, and Wiseman, recovered from his earlier knock, makes a fairly routine stop for him.
But it's the first we've seen of Woden as an attacking force in the first 15 minutes. So a shot on target to give them a little bit of encouragement.
Well, Tuggeranong arguably playing without a recognised striker here. That's offside against De Silva. Slavic has played there a bit, but he's played fullback as well a lot.
Yeah.
And wide. Ewan Peterkin is more of a midfielder. And Danny Fulton, jack of all trades really, but not a recognised goal scorer.
No, I mean, normally it's a 4-3-3, but I think Peterkin will play that a little bit deeper and they'll look for Fulton and Slavic to try and get into positions where they might be able to do some damage.
Smith, Doherty, and Wiseman can pick a pass to Walsh. Had the weekend off last week. Regan Walsh.
Excellent player, Regan Walsh.
Again, Tuggeranong United in that same boat that we talked about with Canberra Olympic before, about needing to strengthen in certain areas, and Mitch Stevens is well aware of that, and he's trying a few different things this afternoon, and he'll be active in the transfer market as well, you'd think.
Well, I should imagine you try and bring in people that are perhaps more creative than what they've got at the moment. That, you know, they've struggled for goals, they've struggled to create chances. They've certainly got the energy and the work rate. They've always had that.
Come back to that in a second, Steve, as Selden tries to find Miguel De Silva, but he's offside again. Carry on with your point.
Yeah, so I think they'll be looking for the more creative players, providing that they can hold on to most of the squad that they've got. But what these games, these last three games, will do for people like Mitch, it'll just crystallise where the problems, where the weaknesses are, and he'll be able to work on that in the off-season. He's given a number of lads that have been on the fringe of the first grade some opportunities to see whether they can cement a place, and you know, if it doesn't work for them, then he'll be looking to replace them.
Selden slides it through. Martin Barisic breaks the offside trap here. Only De Silva in the middle. Pulls it back now for Vlaslovsky, who is arriving, and Moore was back defending. Eats
Good
up the ground, doesn't he, Vlaslovsky?
He does. He does. Got those, once he gets those long legs going, he's hard to sort of keep up with, but good defending from the Tuggeranong boys.
Put my coat on a couple of minutes ago because it was getting cold and the sun was behind the clouds, and now it's warm again. Won't make its mind up, Steve. Should have come in my John Motson sheepskin coat that you're wearing. Selden swings it in, good cross that, and Wiseman elects to punch it clear.
Yeah, and if you're making that decision, get it far and wide, high and wide, and he did.
Barisic fires it goalwards, and Wiseman gets two hands on it. We might have kept it in here to Mate Barisic. Well, Nikola Barisic hit that one, and well, Wiseman kept it out after a fashion.
It must have moved in the air because he was well behind it, but his job's to keep it out, and he's done that.
Doesn't really matter how you keep it out, does it?
Not in the end.
Slavic, better though from the Wanderers as an attacking force.
Yeah, they after a slow start, they're just sort of working their way back into the game.
Just a reminder, Monero Panthers already booked their place in the bottom four playoff final. If you just tuned in, they beat Canberra Olympic 5-0 earlier today. It could have been a lot more. De Silva looked for Barisic in the middle. The deflection on. There's a real mix-up here, and Doherty, well, doesn't want to be getting off the mark like that.
103 games, won. And it's an own goal.
Heart would have been in his mouth then, wouldn't it?
He certainly shocked himself. little lack of communication perhaps, but they got away with it.
Fulton collected nicely ahead of Bill. Peterkin sliding challenge from Fields, all ball. Anderson, nice turn, and slides it down the line for Selden. They're in again here, and they've got numbers in the middle. Barisic unmarked. If they can find him, it comes in towards the far post, and Sam Smith's turn to turn it round for a corner.
Great move. Getting behind Sean Kitty, who was caught out really badly there with Selden's run, but both the Woden players went in on the same line. Miguel da Silva had come a little bit deeper. It might have been an easier ball.
Chance for them to use their height. We've mentioned it throughout the season. Tallest team in the NPL. Vlaslovsky towering above most of these Tuggeranong defenders. Lachlan Fields in there too. Mate Barisic decent in the air as well. And after all that, they go short. Selden looking to take on Kitty and pull it, Cashmore, and pull it back, and De Silva will be a little bit disappointed with that.
Yeah, that's a poor effort. That was I'll just get through this and hope that it goes in rather than meeting it with some conviction.
Belconnen United made it through. They were 4-1 up against Gungahlin last time we checked.
In the women's
WNPL semi-final.
Final score?
Just checking now, but I think it was unlikely that they'd come back. Stream did have a red card against Belconnen's name, but apparently that's not true. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Peterkin slides it through to Fulton.
Overcomplicating things there, Adam Di Franceschi.
It's a chance on the overlap for Tuggeranong there, and an opportunity to slide it in from out wide. In a corner is the upshot again. It's a bit of a coming together in the middle with Slavic.
Doherty bursts forward. Get on the end of the corner. Or take it, I mean.
Again, for the third time today. Final score in that women's game was Belconnen 4, Gungahlin 1. So Belconnen again in the grand final. Well, they beat Canberra Croatia for the 5th year in a row.
Standard operating procedure over the last few years, isn't it?
Well, haven't quite had it all in their own way this year, have they? They lost a couple of games and it's been made to work hard. Doherty swings this one in towards Moore. Vlaslovsky beats him in the air.
Canberra Croatia won the minor premiership, yeah?
They did, and they'll be playing Canberra Olympic. We'll keep you up to date with that one as well. Vlaslovsky spinning the ball wide, and a good ball too. Selden takes it in his stride, trying to get away from Sean Kitty, who sticks to the task. Mate Barisic is coming in on it. Now Barisic rifles it home. A thumping finish, one end to the other. They have ripped Tuggeranong apart there. That is a quality goal.
Yeah, great run by Selden. In behind Kitty again. We got a taste of that just a few minutes ago, and he's managed to get away again. And then when he did find a little bit of space, his ball into Barisic, spot on and clinically finished. Woden 1, Tuggeranong 0.
Cracked it in, didn't he? Unerring finish. Cut it back. His second of the season, his 7th in 21 games. And Mate Barisic, back in Canberra after his spell in Victoria was cut short because of COVID, finds the top corner. And after Tuggeranong's bright start, they find themselves behind. And it gets a little bit harder for Canberra. It's mission impossible.
Yeah.
More.
I mean, Woden can relax a little bit now and just play.
Smith. Once again, though, it shows the confidence. The ball from Vlaslovsky was outstanding. Selden's touch was excellent. The ball back, the decision-making was good, and the finish was top draw.
Absolutely. Sean Kitty's just been caught out a little bit, being a little bit square of Selden. He's just getting in behind him with the ball that's just playing on the inside shoulder. But, you've got to be good enough to actually pick the pass, and Vlaslovsky did with a superb ball. And it was really, really well worked thereafter.
Lejeun's kick out is fantastic. He's got De Silva in behind, couldn't take it in his stride, and it's going to roll away from him. But you look at this thing. I watched Woden-Weston in the first game of the season when they lost 5-0 to Tuggeranong. I also did the game they lost 3-0 to Monero Panthers, and this is a different outfit completely. Oh, yeah. It's the same players, but playing with different attitude, different feeling to it. And one or two players came in. The Barisic boys, of course, made a difference, but Yuli De Silva is a real case there of having a bit of patience with a coach to enable him to bring his plan to fruition, and it's bearing fruit.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. The Gungahlin, the first game, wasn't it? 5-0. They were in it until half-time and then collapsed thereafter. And I know Yuli, after that game, was convinced that they would improve and they would get better, and he's been proved correct.
Well, they didn't show a lot in terms of an attacking force in that game. I'll come back to this in a second as Moore tries to force his way through. And yet, they could have had a penalty. Jay Selden on the break. They showed little glimpses like this, but they've added that to their game now, haven't they? Like I said, the addition of Mate Barasic and Nikola Barasic has certainly helped in that respect. The return of William Lejeune between the posts. No disrespect to young Callum Cook, who was exceptional in that match. Adds a little bit of experience.
Yeah, he was. But
McEwen, Kiddy's back there tidying up.
But having somebody like William Lejeune at the back does give you a lot more confidence than any experienced keeper might. But they've turned it around and turned it around really well.
And you wonder if Yuli De Silva can keep this group together and again strengthen in a couple of areas, what they could do next year.
Well, you've got to give them a chance. But, you know, if Barasic is going back to Melbourne, that's a big hole to fill. And the unfortunate thing for clubs like Woden is that people soon forget the run that they've had, and next season they just become a Woden team that's struggled again.
Well, they're finishing the season on a high, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, and if people remember that, they can attract players. It'll help them attract players.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we can get Woden playing the way they played the last 3 or 4 games against the Monaro Panthers we saw this afternoon as well, we should be in for a treat.
Oh, it'll be a good game. Yeah, I think it'll be a good... I mean, both teams, whether they... whether they want it to be in a bottom 4 challenge or not, will want to win it now that they're in the final.
Doherty. Kiddy out wide. Tuggeranong just gone off the ball since they conceded. Pass is not sticking. No. Woden growing into the contest. Anderson looking to slide it through to Barasic again.
Yeah, a little ambitious, but right idea.
Woden-Weston brought some supporters today, Steve. Vociferous crowd to our left.
I think it's the Barasic fan club, is it?
Well, they enjoyed it. It's goal, didn't they?
Yep.
Nice to get a bit of noise at a finals game. It's been quite eerie, hasn't it, with the COVID restrictions in place? De Franceschi.
Yeah, I mean, we lack for atmosphere in the best of times. With the restrictions, it's been very difficult.
Fulton. Barasic has touched at Anderson. He's turned over possession in the shape of a throw. Will Sean Kiddy launch one in? They won't, because Fulton's gone short to Cashmore. The quiet start to his Tuggeranong United career.
He's been alright, been reasonably tidy. Yeah. This is dangerous. Yeah.
Bunell decides that Jacob Wiseman is the option. Cam Doherty playing the ball square, getting in again from Walsh.
You play that ball to a player who's facing his own goals. It's an invitation to come and press.
Bunell has found Peterkin with the pass.
And there's the difference. Facing forward, can get forward. Wasted.
Bill was in there. Selden battling with Fulton. Peterkin's come away with it, and Tuggeranong have a chance here. Slavic can swing in there. It wasn't Slavic, my pardon. It was Kiddy Cashmore on the overlap.
Yeah. Need to do a little bit better, but at least they're getting into areas where they can improve.
Coming up to half an hour played. Woden-Weston leading. Mate Barasic's goal, the difference. A little bit of skill there from Barasic to find Selden. We'll get the party tricks out. Bunell not having any of that, and Barasic coming back more conventionally to win the ball. Fulton. Peterkin. More chasing willingly, but McEwen's found Vloslovsky. From about here that he picked the pass earlier that created the first goal of the afternoon. McEwen. De Silva. Vloslovsky. McEwen. Tried to flick it through the legs of Moore's. Got the ricochet though, Chris McEwen, and he's opening up here, but Barasic went the wrong way and the pass went the other. Yeah.
I think McEwen was expecting to come back square with it and get that little 1-2, that little combination going. It might have put McEwen in, but Barasic on a different page.
Bunell. Nikola Barasic in sharply. Selden gets a bit lucky with his pass to Mate Barasic. Nikola Barisic, and that's a brave challenge from Bunel. Runs through the foot. Peterkin finds Smith. Looks for the ball forward towards Cashmore.
Hard ball, wasn't it?
And here comes Anderson. Picks it wide to De Silva, but it's overhit.
Yeah, didn't quite make the right connection then. But they're just winning the midfield battle now, and Tuggeranong just needs to sort of get a little bit of shape back, get a little bit of structure back, and just withstand this. And you can stay 1-0 for the next 10 minutes or so, they can still get something out of the game.
Wiseman at the back to Doherty, and now Regan Walsh. Tuggeranong trying to keep a bit of ball and get a bit of movement ahead as Wiseman goes long, looking for Fulton up against Connor Bill.
Does well.
He's brought it down, Daniel Fulton, and he's turned inside and he's got a nutmeg on, and Lawson Moore might wanted a bit of advantage there. Free kick's been given.
I think she's blown it. Delphina's blown a little bit early there with the boy breaking free.
Free kick.
Fulton did well, didn't he? Brought it down, found a pass.
Has that in his armoury, of course.
Yeah.
Walsh over the free kick, looking into the sunshine. Kitty's peeled away to the right in an ocean of space. If he wants to go there. Yeah. Instead, he's going to go long to the cluster of bodies at the back post, and he's overhit it. Miles overhit it out of play. Disappointing.
Yeah, might as well have played Kitty.
Yeah, Sean Kitty playing his 8th match of the season, 78th overall, and he would have had a lot more as well, but for a catalogue of injuries, of course.
He's been very, very unlucky with injuries, serious injuries. I mean, the boy could have been anything at all.
Selden. I'm sure there'll be a few clubs casting covetous eyes at Jay Selden.
One would think so.
And not just from this area either, I wouldn't imagine. Had a spell with the FFA when they were in the National Youth League.
The AIS.
The AIS as they were then.
Yeah. Well, he's looked a class act. And, you know, the better players you put around him, the better he will look. So it's a possibility that Woden might have to work hard to keep him.
Challenge from Mate Balasic. Smith finds Bunel, who's dropped into a defensive position to cover for Regan Walsh. Wiseman's had plenty of touches. Smith. He's done quite well as a left back this year, Sam Smith.
He's all right. Gets up and down the park a little bit, and he's created a bit for him going forward.
Bill volleys in the air. Peterkin nods it wide, looking for the runners of Kitty, who's got the strength to get there and the ability to pull it back. It'll come for Peterkin, who lashes at it right-footed, and it's way over the crossbar.
Yeah.
Better though from Tuggeranong in terms of
best attacking. We've seen from the last 10 or 15 minutes, with Kitty getting forward and, you know, nearly picking out players in the middle, and Adam Di Franceschi's interception just falls kindly to Ewan Peterkin, but unfortunately his technique let him down a little bit, and we end up with a new ball.
Joined the club this year, Ewan Peterkin from ANU, from NPL2, got a debut goal in the 2-1 win over Gungahlin United at Hawker, in what many thought was a surprise at the time.
Well, yeah.
But Tuggeranong's form afterwards suggested perhaps otherwise. Bunel's been robbed here by Anderson, who was too sharp and aware of what was going on. Here is Roy Anderson.
Too much.
Just to hang on for it for a little bit too long, didn't he?
Yeah.
Looked dangerous when he was bringing it forward.
Yeah, if he could have found a pass after that, when he beat the first player, then I think Woden might have been in for a second.
Well, they have a free kick here, Tuggeranong. 10 minutes to the break. Mate Balasic goal, the difference. Woden-Weston on 7 points from 3 games. Monero Panthers on 6, and that will leave Canberra Olympic marooned on 4, and Tuggeranong at the bottom on 0, unless something happens, of course. If you just tune in, you're wondering what needs to happen. Well, Tuggeranong need to win, and they need to win big for Olympic to go through, and at the moment, completely the opposite as De Silva's got away from Smith here. Real chance for Miguel De Silva. Will he go for goal? He will. And it wasn't too far away. I think Selden didn't gamble to stick a leg out.
No, I think Selden's run didn't help him much because I think his first instinct was to try and find Selden for the tap in, but his run took him into a spot where he couldn't find him, and Miguel has just ended up having to try and curl it in the back post, but
with the outside of the right foot.
With the outside of the right foot, difficult skill. But once again, getting him behind on either fullback and creating problems for Tuggeranong.
Wiseman launches it. Fields will prod forward to Barisic, who's beaten by Cashmore in midfield. McEwen can bring it forward, and he saw Wiseman off his line and tried something ambitious, which turned out to be a back pass, but why not?
Well, at least he saw it. But the experiment with the three younger players in midfield for Tuggeranong is just starting to fray around the edges at the moment.
Started off brightly, didn't it?
It did, but it's Woden in the ascendancy at the moment.
Cashmore looking to stamp his authority. Moore, who's played the furthest forward of the three. De Franceschi, too strong. McEwen, De Silva. Looks for a runner. Barisic is the one he was aiming for. And Bunel did well just to ease him out the way. Can Tuggeranong find a response before the break? It's a bit short. Wiseman had it under control though. Towering header from De Franceschi.
That's Adam all over, isn't it? Committed. Only one winner there.
Fulton. Cashmore. Barisic challenging. Fulton in, another free kick. Tuggeranong United. They're getting a few of these.
Yeah, it's got a bit scrappy. Too many sort of interruptions through niggly free kicks, and probably suits Woden because although they don't necessarily want to play that way, it does stop the game's momentum and flow.
Well, Walsh goes short this time. Similar kind of position to where he overhit the last one. Won his team a corner there.
Yep. Cue Cam Doherty.
And Slavic, who did the donkey work for it, and Doherty can jog over there once again. Mitch Stevens will be hoping for a better delivery this time and someone to attack this.
Well, it'll bring some life back into the game if Tuggeranong can pinch an equaliser. It'll lift their spirits and it'll just give Woden something else to think about. And maybe this is one of the avenues that are available to them to actually get something.
What can Doherty do? It's a good delivery into the penalty area. Nice header clear from Lachlan Fields at the near post. De Silva is back helping. Moore, though, is causing him issues and lets him out with a rather soft free kick.
Yeah.
Learning
well done
there.
Well done, Miguel De Silva, though. Doing his defensive duties as a winger.
Taking the free kick. Lejeune will chip forward to Barisic. Up against Walsh.
That's a lot of Barisic then. It's just floated into him and really inviting the defender to come over the top of him.
Kitty. Cashmore. Fulton.
Better.
Cashmore again. Fulton. Peterkin's the runner. De Franceschi across with him. And apparently it was ball. Peterkin felt it.
Surely that's a free kick.
Looked it from here, didn't it? But we are a long way away.
We are. I think you and Peterkin thought it was a free kick, though.
Shane Lyson-Smith, the assistant on that far side, he was right on top of it and suggested there was plenty of ball in that.
Yeah, I'm not. I thought when he first put his flag up, I thought he was waving for the free kick, but obviously not.
Another wholly committed challenge from De Franceschi. Expect nothing different now. Can Tuggeranong launch this into the penalty area?
Not much point. There's nobody in there.
Well, they scored off one of these last week against Canberra Olympic, but there's no one to aim for. Only Fulton, who did win it. Might drop to Slavic. Will drop to Bunel, who fizzes one in, but the deflection took all the pace off it, and Lejeune can gather it in. 6 minutes to the break. And then rather rushed the clearance. Fulton, there's no one at home at the moment. Looking to dribble Connor Bill.
One or two players from either side have just taken that extra touch when they don't need to.
Smith. Cashmore. Walsh. And Doherty. Looks to go longer.
Good ball.
Peterkin. And his prod forward isn't accurate enough. Now can Woden-Weston break with Jay Selden? Blazlowski. Selden. It's forced backwards by the touch from Blazlowski, and Woden will have to start again at the back for Di Franceschi to Fields.
Working hard, Tuggeranong, to get a press going there.
Certainly are. All the way back to Lejeune, who's chips it forward, and Tuggeranong win it back.
Yeah.
Slavic can't keep it in though.
Yeah, good. It was good work, good press, well coordinated. They all worked together.
Doherty wins a header. Fulton. It's come in field a little bit in the last 10 minutes or so, playing more centrally.
I think he operates better in there anyway. I'm not sure he's got the legs anymore to be a speedy sort of get in behind your fullback winger.
Smith. Barisic was there to win it. Blazlowski back to McEwen. Again, the Tuggeranong press. Ewan Peterkin leading the charge on Lejeune. Fields away from Slavic.
Too easy.
McEwen. Barisic has got a lot of room down the middle if they can find him, and there's the pass from McEwen, and he has found Barisic, who brings it under control and fires it goalwards. It's absolutely outstanding. Mate Barisic at the double. Woden-Weston Wanderers cruising at 2-0.
That's pure class from Barisic. I mean, he looked a tad offside and when the ball first floated in, but it was a ball from McEwen that picked him out, and Tuggeranong will be sort of looking at each other and going, why didn't we pick him up in the middle? He had too much space, but what a finish. What a finish. World class.
Brought it down, had no other thought in his mind but volleying it in the bottom corner, and that's where it went. Barisic has 2, the Wanderers have 2, and this unbeaten run looks like ticking on.
I was thinking when he brought it down, I'm thinking he's just going to lob him. Just put it over his head and see if he can get it in, but he stuck it in the bottom corner and gave Wiseman absolutely no chance.
We saw Sam Smith scored 2 earlier, and we were talking about the hat-tricks.
Yeah.
Only been 2 this season. Barisic on 1 now. The way he's taking his, though, you wouldn't bet against him getting a third. 2 chances, both of them in the back of the net, and both clinically taken as well.
Well, he's got the rest of this half and all of the next half to find a third. But it just sort of emphasises the turnaround that Woden have experienced over the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's been very, very good.
Lejeune asking an awful lot of Miguel da Silva.
The last 2 or 3 times he's had it, his distribution has been substandard for Will and Lejeune. He's much, much better than that. I'm sure Yuli will be having a word with him and saying, let's keep the ball.
Moore's flick on, Lachlan Fields away, Bunell's downward header. Fulton gets there ahead of Fields.
Good feet.
And he runs into Anderson.
Yeah, 1 too many again. But he's not being helped by the movement off the ball.
To Silva's pass forwards. Doherty goes square to Walsh. Has it again, Cam Doherty. Barisic putting the pressure on. Picks the run of Moore. Stretches his legs. Finds Slavic. Better from Tuggeranong, and a super tackle from Lachlan Fields. That is how you defend.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful tackle. Superbly timed. Gets it wrong, of course, and you're looking at a spot kick, but that was impeccably timed.
Smith.
Oh.
Gets the chance from a throw-in. Can Tuggeranong find a response before the break? They're 2-0 down. It's been a tricky couple of weeks since they missed out on the grand final. The top 4, I should say.
So close.
Lost to the Panthers 3-0, and then was seen off by Canberra Olympic 2-1 last week. And 2-0 down here as well. And it's difficult, isn't it, whether you talk about true reflection of a side. I don't think this is a true reflection of what this team's achieved this year, of course.
No, I think psychologically they didn't get over the 1-1 draw with Canberra Croatia when they'd put themselves in a position where they would have been playing in that top group, and they were in good form at the time. Since then, of course, it's all just got a bit ragged.
A lot of changes, of course, as well.
Yeah.
A lot of things tried, and at the moment they're struggling in the midfield.
But I think in this game in particular, not so much the other 2, but in this game in particular, they've got nothing to play for, and it's very, very hard to sort of keep a positive attitude, whereas Woden, not only are they a chance of playing in a final, but they're actually keeping the momentum going on a really good run. So they're well up for it, whereas Tuggeranong probably not so much.
As I said at the top of the broadcast, they couldn't buy a goal for a long time. 7 in 12 matches. Now they have 8 in the last 4. And with the promise of more to come.
Yep.
Selden looking to stretch his legs and get away, and it might come right now. Jay Selden looking for his first goal. In on goal. Wiseman denies him with a decent save. Was almost set up for him there, wasn't it?
That was his chance, wasn't it? We said it wouldn't take too long before he gets a goal, but he should have done better with there. But all credit to young Wiseman, who's made himself big and made the save.
Cashmore finds Bunnell. Getting in a little bit too easy now for Tuggeranong's liking.
They're just all over the place.
Doherty sends it forward. That's not a bad ball to Walsh, who strayed forward and stayed up there. Lachlan Fields in the air. Nikola Barisic more conventional. And that's half time, says Delphina Domoski, a half in which Tuggeranong started very, very well and looked sharp, but once Mate Barisic rifled Woden-Weston in front after 23 minutes, there's really only been one side that looks like they're going to score.
Yeah, it's Woden's to lose now. But Tuggeranong, like you say, they made a good start, but the last sort of 30 minutes of the half has been one-way traffic, and the really impressive thing is the 2 goals have been created so well, been finished well by Barisic, but the lead-up work for both goals was fabulous. Woden in the ascendancy, very hard to see Tuggeranong getting anything out of the game now. It's just a matter of whether they can stay positive for the second half.
Woden have a giant step into the bottom 4 grand final series with this. Mate Barisic at the double, a cracking drive for his first, and a simply outstanding finish for his second 4 minutes before the break. And they're the goals which have the Wanderers in command at the interval. It's Tuggeranong 0, Woden-Weston 2. Welcome back to the Riverside Stadium for the second half of the bottom four finals series, the final match of the round robin phase before we get to the finals, the grand finals. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me as he has all afternoon, Steve Forshaw. Steve, 45 minutes of football left in front of us, and 45 minutes in which Tuggeranong United need to up the ante, or they might find themselves in the end of a bit of a hiding here.
Certainly, as the first half wound down, Woden was sort of exerting far more authority and domination than Tuggeranong would have been comfortable with, and if that continues, then you would expect Woden to run away with this quite comfortably. Tuggeranong just not the sort of club that'll lie down, and I think next 10 or 15 minutes is going to be quite instructive.
No changes to either team from the looks of it. False start there for Daniel Fulton, out the blocks too early. Woden up 2-0. Mate Barasic with a world-class double, to be fair, and he's on a hat-trick, and this is him chasing the early ball. Walsh nods it down. De Silva finds Glaslovsky. Anderson. Doherty stops that first attack. It's going to fall for McEwen, though. Lifted in towards where Barasic was, and Wiseman lost his bearings for a second.
Yeah, promising attack just sort of turned into nothing, a non-event in the end, but good start from the boys in red and black. Which they need to do. They need to keep the momentum going. They need to be positive right from the start, and from what we've seen in that first minute or so, then they have every intention of going on with it.
Mentioned it might be a difficult 45 minutes for Tuggeranong, bearing in mind their season is effectively dead. This is almost like a end of season friendly for them, and they'll want to finish on a high if they can.
Yeah, very, very difficult for Mitch and his staff to get the boys up for a game that for them really has no meaning whatsoever other than playing for pride. But to be fair, they've actually, they've done everything they could to stay in the game. It's just been two world-class finishes that have got them behind.
Walsh. Bunell. Kitty. Peterkin. Kitty, nice crisp passing from Tuggeranong. Sean Kitty in field. Moore. Bunell. Kitty. Looks for the opening. And then is brought down by Adam De Franceschi. Sean Kitty wasn't happy with that, as you can see from his reaction.
No, it was a strange sort of challenge from Adam De Franceschi. He was nowhere near the ball, but that's the sort of football I'm sure Mitch Stephen is going to be looking for from Tuggeranong, where they keep the ball moving, 1 and 2 touch, find little combinations, keep the ball moving, keep themselves moving, and even if they don't get anything out of the game, they can at least come away and think we've got something to work with for the next year.
Regan Walsh territory this one. So score a cracker in that draw with Canberra, Croatia. The free kick experts. Big gap over the top of that wall to William Lejeune's left if Regan Walsh has the accuracy.
Interesting that Woden leaving 3 forward.
They've gone short, it's too short.
Yeah.
And Connor Bill
read it well, didn't he?
Yeah, he was out on it. He's watched the video. They tried that one here with the goal that Harrison Bunell / David Jenkins' own goal earlier in the season. Corner for United. Cameron Doherty jogged a fair few kilometres today, hasn't he?
Yes.
Just to take corners.
Not convinced that zonal defending is the way to go, but Tuggeranong don't have a lot of power in the air.
It's a flatter delivery. Peterkin got a decent header at the near post. It was really well contorted his body to get the flick on and managed to get it on target.
But unfortunately, it went straight down Lejeune's throat.
Glaslovsky has it. Barasic.
Other way.
Anderson, plenty up in this attack. Selden to his left, sent him a little bit wide. Up against Kitty J. Selden. Looking to torment the fullback, and he's done him and into the area. Selden still going, pulls it back, and Barasic couldn't wrap his foot around it. Good run again from Selden.
Yeah, quality, real quality. Kitty's having a torrid old time trying to keep this boy in check.
Corner's taken short. Anderson clipped cross up towards Vlaslovsky. Wins the header, as you'd expect, but nobody in a black and red shirt read the intentions. Savage got himself into a bit of a knot there. Lachlan Fields with the no-nonsense tackle. Just a sign there with that passing move from Tuggeranong that there is a little bit to this side.
Oh, they're not. They're not devoid of some potential, but psychologically they're up against it.
Fulton looking to use his skills in the short amount of space. Ran into Nicola Barisic and Chris McEwen though.
I think Mitch Stevens will be saying to Daniel Fulton, let's just release it a little bit earlier. You're getting a lot of touches, but we're not getting much out of it at the end of the day. He's got great feet, got lovely skills, but he's just got to move it on a bit quicker.
Cashmore plays it into De Silva, gets it back again, the midfielder. Peterkin, Cashmore, couldn't squeeze it past Anderson. He's twisting and turning to get away from Peterkin. Bill, Selden, Cashman in with the tackle. Connor Bill under pressure from Ewan Peterkin. Adam DiFranceschi quickest out the blocks though. You get the feeling that Tuggeranong need to score next.
If they're going to get anything out of it, I think so.
And more for the sake of the game, which will probably peter out if Woden get a third.
Yeah, if Woden are the next to score, then basically it's all over Red Rover. And to be fair, they're the ones that look like they might.
Barisic in midfield. Selden beaten to it by Kitty. Fulton. Kitty again. Not much ahead of him. Not playing with an out-and-out forward. Connor Bill, and that's a sore one for Kitty. He's landed on that right shoulder and he's in a bit of pain here.
Yeah.
We mentioned about his injuries before. Selden is carrying on.
Yeah, he's had a bad shoulder. He was telling me before the game that he's got a sore shoulder and he's landed really hard on that.
Yeah, in a bit of pain, Sean Kitty. We don't want to see this again. He's been blighted by injuries.
Actually thought it was a foul. Did you?
Doesn't matter what we thought, Steve. Jordan King was right down there in front of it and suggested that Connor Bill got enough of the round thing. Thankfully, Sean Kitty seems to be okay.
He's up.
Might mean he can't take some throw-ins for a while. Barisic. Nicola Barisic. Snaps at Fulton. Not the greatest challenge, and he's going to get himself a yellow card in Nicola Barisic, his third of the campaign.
That was a bit silly.
Wants to be careful on a yellow, doesn't want to miss next week through a red.
Enthusiastically encouraged and egged on by some of his mates in the crowd.
Big fans of the Barisic boys.
Aye.
Easy decision that for Delphina Domosky.
Yeah, it was a silly challenge, worthy of a yellow card.
Tried to let the game flow as much as you can today, but it's been a bit piecemeal at times, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Bunel, as you'd expect from a game which is effectively a dead rubber once Woden have gone 2-0 up, it's really difficult for Tuggeranong to lift themselves. I mean, if they were in with a shout of qualifying, you'd think, yeah, maybe they can.
Absolutely. It's too hard. They're not quite clocked off, but they're not far from it.
Might see some changes. Danny Felici, John Chirek, Eddie Coggan amongst the substitutes. Vlaslovsky wins the header over Smith. Barisic tries to bring De Silva into play. Moore's back challenging. Had a busy hour or so. Walsh launches it forward. Good win by Lachlan Fields. And Slavic just took his eye off it.
Yeah. So Tuggeranong, I think, are just a little bit guilty of sort of trying to play on the second ball, where they launch things forward, try to get into Peterkin, try to get into Fulton, and they've looked better when they've actually got the ball on the deck and tried to play a bit.
Fields all the way back to Lejeune. Kitty reads the bounce. Challenge between Cashmore and Bill results in a Wanderers throw. A reminder that next week it's grand final day on Saturday. WNPL reserves in first grade and men's under 23s in first grade. And on Sunday it's the bottom 4 under 23s final and first grade under 23s first grade bottom 4 finals. All at Deakin Stadium, all live and exclusive on Bar TV Sports.
Well, both days at Deakin, is it?
Both days at Deakin. Shame for the Riverside, which has hosted the bottom 4 final series. Kitty with a thumping header. Got the lights on here as well. Cashmore sends it wide to Fulton. He's got Peterkin in support if he wants to use him. Peterkin lifting it into the penalty area. Not a bad ball.
Not a good header.
McEwen's put himself into trouble. Teed it up for Lawson Moore, but fortunately for the Wanderers, he'd taken all the pace off it. For the Wanderers looking ahead as well, Steve, do you think, do they start to make some changes and maybe save some of their players for next week? Or do they just carry on the way they're going?
No, I think give it another 5 or so minutes and I think you might find that particularly Barisic is on a yellow card, might be taken off, given a bit of a spell. They might look to take Selden off, save him for next week. I mean, they won't make wholesale changes all at once, but they'll certainly go to the bench before the game's over. I think Tuggeranong probably need an injection of fresh legs at the moment.
Well, as we said, it's a new look midfield. Shown glimpses. Laszlowski.
Offside.
De Silva, played on by Regan Walsh, I think, in the middle.
Must have been close. Might have had me flag up there. I might have been going to VAR.
I think there'd have been a few Wanderers fans calling you all sorts of names if you put your flag up there, Steve.
They do anyway.
Not just the Wanderers fans.
It's universal.
Peterkin steps in.
Cam Doty frustrated. He's looking for more out of his front players, making forward runs, and they're just not happening.
Needs to go on a run himself, maybe. Wiseman, again, he was looking for an option to go long as well. He's trying to pick out Fulton up against Di Franceschi. Wins the header. Bill won't keep this in, and Tuggeranong have made a net gain. And a chance for Kitty to test out the shoulder. In fact, he goes short into the penalty area, and Kitty will get a second chance. Cashmore wants it short. Peterkin in the box. Slavic has made a run as well. It's found Peterkin. It will find Andrew Slavic here. Squares it off to Bunell. Took a couple of touches. Moore tries the little turn. Fields was never going to be beaten by that, though.
No, he's been impressive, Fields, hasn't he? Done very well defensively and looks very comfortable on the ball as well.
Barisic went for something Ibrahimovic-esque. Got a free kick out of it. 13 minutes of the second half gone. Wanderers still leading 2-0 thanks to that brace in the first half from Mate Barisic. And Tuggeranong make a change.
Yeah,
Sam Smith comes off. Eddie Coggan comes on.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Get some fresh legs on, put some impetus into their attacking or forward movement. Eddie Coggan does make good runs off the ball. See what he can do in the last sort of half an hour of the game.
Well, I'm assuming then Moore might go back into defence.
It looks like it.
On the left-hand side there. Ball's switched to this near side as Selden up against Kitty. It's been a good battle, this one.
Yeah, it's done well there.
Bill. Anderson. Tried to find Selden. Walsh was there, though, and here's Cashmore with a little flick to Fulton. Di Franceschi up high with the feet. Both of them went in high. One of them won the ball, the other one's penalised.
Hardly dangerous, I would have thought.
Can't be dangerous if they're both going high, can they?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Barisic, dangerous to both. Here's Selden. Gets it back from Mate Barisic. Anderson. Selden. Bit too intricate.
Yeah. The one indicator that the game's sort of drifting into sort of a stalemate or into the doldrums is there's a lack of forward runs. People are getting on the ball and then nobody's making forward runs. And they're not getting... they have no appetite to get on the ball at all.
Cashmore gets a toe in. Bunel finds Peterkin. Slavic again. Peterkin loses out this time, and Blazlovsky can bring it away. Look for Barisic, who I think was hoping that Selden had made the run, and Kitty was the only one that had.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about, because that's a ball that you play on the floor in behind the back four, and Selden can run onto it, but instead, because there's no forward runs, they're just trying to play square.
Moore from left back, rather tentative pass. Slavic has it back for his team though. Here's Fulton. Peterkin nods it down. Cashmore. Left that short for Kitty, but Kitty's going to get there. Then can't get through Anderson. Cashmore has it back. It's all got a bit scrappy. Forward to Coggan. Nice turn, Eddie Coggan. Took it into stride.
Well done.
Fulton.
See nobody in the box.
Absolutely no targets whatsoever, was there?
No.
Andrew Slavic was the only one, and his angle of run was never going to be conducive to a ball from Daniel Fulton there. And maybe that's just a little bit of what the problem's been for Tuggeranong over the last couple of weeks. And to be honest, most of the season they've struggled to find a natural number 9, a goal scorer who wants to get into that penalty area. They've had Harry Truman score 3 and 2 at the start of the year. Very raw talent.
Yeah, but worth persevering with. I think he's shown enough to actually look like he's got something to offer.
Played in the 23s today. Here's Selden looking to stretch his legs into the penalty area. Jay Selden pulls it back. Chance here for Barisic. He's hit the bar. Almost a hat-trick. It's not over yet. And it's been nodded wide by De Silva. Good chance out for Mate Barisic. And should have scored, possibly.
Yeah, it's very, very repetitive. When they're actually making the most potent threat, it's in behind either fullback. And once again, Selden, the architect, unfortunately for Barisic, the frame of the goal gets in the way of his hat-trick.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anybody wants a hat-trick this season.
You might be right with the size of the goals, Ross.
Yeah, the woodwork here gets struck a lot. If that's the case, then next week when Woden play Monero in the final, unless something miraculous happens, it's going to be about 7-all.
Could be a crossbar challenge.
Goals a bit bigger at Deakin, perhaps. Slavic, Coggan. If the kickoff is 11:15 and confirmed for next week, it will make a quite interesting build-up for the two teams as well. I'll come back to that in a second, Steve, as Selden's on the run and cutting in field, looking to get the shot away. Blazlovsky in support. Touches to De Silva. Here's Blazlovsky. The deflection's looped over Wiseman and just over the goal. A 11:15 start means you're at the ground at, say, 10:15. Means if you're doing it properly, breakfast is what, 7:15? Or are you pre-match meal, 7:15?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and you've got to have something to eat before you play. So you're looking at a really early start, and that can play into the game as the last 10-15 minutes.
And I'm just talking about me. Here's Selden on the edge of the box.
Yeah, there's only one breakfast, Russ.
Fields, I got to drive a miles to get to the ground as well.
You'll be on your Kranskis.
Not at 7:15 in the morning. Body to temple, mate.
Yeah, Russ, you're not playing. You can have your breakfast later on if you like.
I'd rather have the extra sleep.
You'll be getting up to watch Manchester United get beaten again, wouldn't you?
Probably. Got a nice, difficult away cup tie against Luton in the week. That'll be worth getting up for.
Should get a point.
Yeah. Probably lose on penalties. Great start to the season for them yesterday. Off to a flyer. 1-0 win over Crystal Palace. I choose not to acknowledge the 3 goals that they scored. Ball's launched forwards. Football would be much easier if that was the case, wouldn't it? Tuggeranong will be like, nah, it's 0-0. I don't acknowledge the goals that Woden scored this afternoon.
Without sort of detracting from this game too much, I think it's the second time in a row Palace have beaten United at Old Trafford.
Yeah, the jinx team for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Just goes to show the work that needs to be done there. Premier League back. Everyone enjoying it. Some more than others right now. Doherty launches this one forwards.
Or Riverwoods.
The worst thing about the season coming to an end here is we're going to have quite a long wait till 2021. Not as long as we normally would have, obviously, because we'll be finishing about a month later than we normally would. But it'll be interesting to see what state football is in this time next year and what we're going to get in 2021, whether it will be a curtailed season again or whether we'll get a full campaign, whether everything clears up around the country and we can all get back to some semblance of normality. We've been very lucky here in Canberra, which we've lived in a little bit of a bubble, to be honest.
Well, certainly, the way that it's been controlled in Canberra would suggest that next year should be a season much as we expected for this one.
Nikola Barisic finds Mate Barisic in behind. The flag has gone up there.
Yeah, he looked offside. So you would expect that you get your 3 rounds in. There would be relegation and promotion, but second wave and problems, and you never know.
Yeah, been very lucky. The people of Canberra can be very proud of the way they've comported themselves throughout the last 6 months or so. Tricky for everybody around the world. My thoughts are with you if you have suffered or have had anybody who has suffered from the pandemic. Hopefully watching a bit of football on Bar TV Sports has brought you a little bit of relief.
Oh, I hope so.
Certainly enjoyed bringing it to you again, as we always do. Throw for Tuggeranong United halfway through the second half, looking to half the deficit if they can. Kiddy up against Anderson. Barisic lofts it away, and here's a chance for Selden, but he's
already
controlled it out of play.
Really needs a Tuggeranong goal now, doesn't it, the game, just to lift it a little bit.
We're going to see another change for Tuggeranong United, it would seem. Daniel Fulton is going off, as is Andrew Slavic. Jono Chirek is coming on. And Daniel Felici as well.
Daniel Felici as well, yeah.
2 changes. So Mitch Stevens empties the bench. This will mean a change of formation as well. Chirek can play up front, of course. Daniel Felici's been deployed as a defender for most of the season, but he might be asked to go a bit further forwards.
He's certainly pushed on in this particular instance.
And why not? You may as well throw as many as you can up front for the last 22 minutes.
Absolutely.
If you can get back into this.
Yeah, nothing to lose.
Nikola Barisic. Roy Anderson. Jay Selden tackled by Brandon Cashmore, who wins the throw. Bit of movement on the Woden-Weston bench as well. Subs are all up and warming up. Peterkin. Anderson will nutmeg on Kiddy. Gets away from him as well, and a chance for Connor Bill to run forwards. Possibly fouled by Harrison Punell. It was a lovely nutmeg by Bill, wasn't it?
Yeah, good feet, good run forward. But once again, just that one extra touch and you lose control.
Connor Bill's tasked with a free kick as well. But before that, we're going to see a change. Roy Anderson is coming off.
Yeah, surprises me a little bit, given that Barisic is on a yellow card.
Jackson Paisler is a replacement. His 7th appearance of the season, 5th time he's come off the bench. Regular go-to for Yuli De Silva when he needs fresh energy in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I think he came out of the Canberra United Academy when it was up and running, and has been trying to make a name for himself at Woden.
Kiddy brings that down. Walsh lifts it forwards. Connor Bill heads it into the air. De Franceschi with a firm challenge under pressure from Chirek. Nikola Barisic has got himself into a bit of a problem here, but got himself out of it well. Ooh. Bill looks for Selden, and he's got pace. Walsh is up against it here. Jay Selden into the area, and he's got away from Regan Walsh. He's got Barisic square, and he goes goal himself. And Wiseman saves at the near post. Mate Barisic was screaming for it in the middle.
And so was Miguel De Silva, and he really should have been pulling that back. I can understand him trying to get on the score sheet, but wasted a golden opportunity to go 3 in front.
Here is Miguel da Silva trying his luck. Yuli da Silva would have been screaming for it as well.
Well, he would have done. He would have.
Absolutely. Really good chance, wasn't it? It got a bit fortunate with the ricochet, but the pace of Selden, I think Regan Walsh halfway through the run was going like, nah, I'm not getting there.
No, but
changed the angle.
He very nearly did. Very nearly did. And like you say, he got a lucky bounce to take him into the box, but once he got there, he should have pulled it back.
The experience of Walsh there, though, is he realised he wasn't going to match him pace for pace, so just changed his angle of run slightly to make it more difficult.
Yeah, just bend to goal and try and cut off his angle, and he did that really well. Just a bit unfortunate with the ricochet.
Yeah, good example for young defenders watching that you don't have to go toe-to-toe with a pacey winger to make it difficult, do you?
No. In fact, when the ball was knocked on, I thought he was never going to get it, and his pace was good.
No slouch, Regan Walsh. Jay Selden, though, fairly rapid.
Yeah, he's got some toe. Just been feeling his groin a little bit. I hope he's not sort of pulling up a bit sore.
Here they come again. De Silva, Nikola Barisic looks to slide it through. Selden's in. Is this his moment? Jay Selden, he's still got it. He's got opportunities, clipped it in, and Wiseman gets a hand on it.
It's a poor option again.
He looks a little tired, doesn't he?
He does. He just a little bit too casual, perhaps.
That was Felice's first real involvement. Got in there, Selden, and thought about the first time, finished the clip, and Wiseman, to his credit, stood up, made it difficult for the forwards.
He's a match winner, though, isn't he, this guy, Selden?
Yeah, which is why I think it's almost critical if he's still in Canberra that Woden keep hold of him.
Yeah.
There will be a queue of clubs wanting his service.
Yeah, very, very hard for clubs like Woden to replace that sort of quality. They just don't sort of fit the bill for the profile to sort of attract them more than once. So they've got to work hard to keep him. Got to work overtime to keep him.
Cashmore beaten to it by Bill. Mate Barisic, Vlaslovsky. De Silva wanted it over the top, I think. He's got it back in the middle now. Looking to create a bit of havoc. Bill. Paisley. Not the best of balls, was it, from Connor Bill to him?
No, I asked a lot of him.
Barisic has lost out. Nikola Barisic to Ewan Pidikin. Coggan's making the run ahead. Eddie Coggan lining one up and firing it across goal. Eddie Coggan also looking for his first goal of the season. Opened up for him.
It's probably the first shot they've had on the second half, is it? Even with all the possession, I can't remember him having a shot before. I know they've got into positions where they might have, but
yeah, Lejeune's been largely untroubled in terms of direct efforts at goal. 2 strikes from Marcel Barisic in the first half. In the 23rd and 41st minutes. And they're the 2 goals that has the Wanderers 2-0 up, and at the moment in cruise control on the way to the final of the bottom 4 series, where they will play Monero Panthers. The teams that finished 7th and 8th on the ladder, and then knock out the teams that finished 5th and 6th.
Just a little surprised that Yuli da Silva hasn't gone to his bench a little earlier than now. It looks like he's sort of talking to people and he might be bringing somebody on, but this game is done and dusted as far as next week's game is concerned.
Well, considering from here, Tuggeranong will need to score 7 times in the next 15 minutes. I mean, I've seen some things in football, but
you're not going to see that.
I'm prepared to admit that that's not going to happen. Selden, if anything, Wanderers might stretch their lead. Swings it in for De Silva arriving, opened the body up to the volley when the header was on.
He should have headed it, shouldn't he? I mean, great ball in. But Yuli, I'll get it right in a minute. Miguel probably should have used his bonds for that.
Went for the more difficult option, didn't he?
He did.
I mean, anything more difficult than that perhaps was an overhead kick. But it was a great run to get in there, to be fair, and the cross from Selden was majestic. It was crying out for a centre-forward style Alan Shearer header. Don't ask so much, do we?
No. You're not going to see a lot of that in Queanbeyan.
Seen some good headers in Queanbeyan over the years. Saw a good one here last week. Lukman Ahmed Chaimu scored a nice thumping header from across. Something about a header that comes off, a nice meaty header into the top corner.
Absolutely.
It's a dying art, isn't it? Don't see many headed goals these days.
No.
Sean Kiddie looking to bring it forward up against Connor Bill. Inside of Coggan, who tried to return the pass, but De Franceschi saw it from a mile off. Coggan, though, to his credit, is back, biting into it. And so is De Franceschi, who slides it forward to Mate Barisic. De Franceschi's still going, and Selden has got sun pace, as we said, but not that quick.
No.
Especially not in the 75th minute.
No, but Adam Di Franceschi injected himself into the play there and really had the opportunity to set Selden away, didn't he? And just overhit it. Got the weight wrong. Here we go. Here's a change.
It's Nikola Barisic, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
He's had a good game, Barisic, but his yellow card probably is got something to play with this, you'd think, with next week coming up and plenty of football still to play.
There's one of the Deng boys coming on.
Yeah, Martin Deng. 92nd NPL appearance.
Has he got 92nd on? He's done well.
He's had a huge amount of games. Scored 20 goals in that time as well.
That's a good return.
Across a variety of clubs. Doherty got the call. That was Deng's first touch. Here's De Silva. Selden. Doherty charging across, but Selden's picked the pass to Mate Barisic on the treble. Of course, he's picked in De Silva. Great move this. Real chance for Martin Deng, but he's put it behind him. Thought he was going to get a glorious introduction there.
You know, we can look at that and we can say how well they did to create the opportunity. But if it's 0-0 in the grand final next week with 10 minutes to go, you want them to be finished off. So they've got to do a little better than that.
Jay Selden drew 3 Tuggeranong players to him in that gap. Like a moth to a flame, weren't they?
They were, and the ball from Barisic into De Silva was a lovely little touch.
Vlaslovsky showing his strength, loses out though to Chirek. Felici. Peterkin wants it. It's in that general area, but he's going to have to put a shift in to get there, Ewan Peterkin.
Yeah, very ambitious. Very, very ambitious.
Into the final quarter of an hour, live on Bar TV Sports. Tuggeranong United nil, Woden-Weston FC 2. It's been quite straightforward, I would suggest, for Woden-Weston since Mate Barisic's second goal of the afternoon.
Certainly the first 15 minutes you gave Tuggeranong a chance of getting something out of the game, but like you say, after that Barisic double, it's really been very comfortable for Woden.
Women's semi-final, come back to that in a second, as Peterkin looks to stride his way through. He's brought down by Connor Bill, probably going to get a sanction here maybe, you'd think. No, free kick is the thing. 43 minutes in, it was Belconnen 3, Gungahlin 1 after 43 minutes in the first one. After 43 minutes in the second one, it's Canberra Croatia 3, Canberra Olympic 1. So following a very similar pattern.
Yeah.
And Canberra Croatia versus Belconnen United is looking very much like it might be on the cards for the 5th year in a row.
And the games between them have been really close.
Been crackers. I called one earlier this year when Brittany Palumbi's thumping drive settled the two sides, and I'll be fortunate enough to be behind the microphone next week as well for that one. Looking forward to it. Part of 4 matches on grand final day. Free kick here. Cameron Doherty's over it, so's Regan Walsh. Come on, Regan, leave it for Cam. Doherty. It is Walsh goes himself. Bit greedy, that. 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, history didn't suggest that Cam Doherty was going to get on the end of that, was it?
Then Walsh is a set-piece expert. There's no sentiment here at the Riverside, is there, for Cam Doherty to find a goal here? Selden. Bill. Paisler. It's an interesting-looking ball back. And Di Franceschi, calm as you like, and so is William Lejeune. Showboating, yeah. Lachlan Fields, we're just missing the Olays. McEwen. Fields, Vlaslovsky. Tell you what, if they go the length of the field and score here, we may as well all pack up and go home.
Yeah, not sure showboating for a team that's finished second bottom in the competition's the way to go, but good on them. Good on them. Showing a lot of confidence in themselves.
Felici. Paisler with the challenge. Fields lifts it forwards, but into no man's land. Peterkin was there. Cashmore helps it on.
Really hasn't made much difference to as a Peterkin dropping into that midfield role from the role he started with, but they still haven't created enough going forward.
A lot of willing hard workers, isn't there?
Yeah.
They're lacking a little bit of creativity, a little bit of magic in midfield at the moment. Peterkin looking to supply something. It's a good ball wide. Can they get a chance here, Tuggeranong? An opportunity to fire it in through Coggan. Wins the corner.
Defended well, Chris McEwen. I thought there was a game earlier this season at Melrose. I can't remember who they were playing, but he got taken to the cleaners a little bit, but he's sort of learned from that, and certainly today he's looked the goods.
Corner for Tuggeranong. They've only committed 3 into the penalty area. Coggan was one of them. Kind of Bill nodded away. Very easy that, with limited numbers. De Silva shows strength and determination, and
ambitious ball there.
Could have gone a little shorter, but tried to go long. Jay Selden is a willing runner, but I think there might be a limit to how many times he can do doggies up and down this flank.
I think also there's an over-reliance on his ability from the Woden players, that they know that if they can get it to him, that he'll do something for them, so they tend to overdo it a little bit, and just be a little bit more patient in possession, and eventually it will get to him.
It is one of their favourite outballs, isn't it?
Yeah.
To find Selden. Walsh. Wiseman. We're into the final 10 minutes of a game in which has looked rarely in doubt for Woden-Weston since they took the lead.
It's now or never for Doherty. He's got to get himself on the score sheet.
Got to get himself up front, hasn't he?
Yeah.
All this playing in defence is about. Doing your job. Peterkin finds Bunell, who of the trio in midfield has perhaps settled the most.
He's done well. But, we were talking off before we did the broadcast about players that play in central defence find the transition to a 6 not that difficult.
Moore showed a few glimpses of his talent as well.
He's done okay. 17-year-old, first time on the park.
Peterkin, Doherty rather, I should say.
But the pace has gone out of the game now, hasn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing has a little bit of an end-of-season feel to it at the moment. Fakeli Manda is going to get 10 minutes or so. Miguel de Silva making way. Looking ahead to next week, you'll be surprised if Yuli de Silva doesn't pick a similar 11 that started this one, keep the momentum going for his team.
Oh, I should imagine so. No, I mean, provided everybody pulls up okay, there's no reason for him to be making too many changes. Be interesting to see what Monero do.
Yeah, Jimmy Canarese made a few changes today, and it seemed to work, didn't it? Well, it obviously did. 5-0 winners over Canberra Olympic earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, I think we've got to put it into context. I mean, it's not the strongest Olympic team you've ever seen, and like we were saying before, you can only beat what's in front of you, and they did that and did it comfortably, but I think they're going to have to lift again and improve again before they can look to be beating Woden.
We'll bring you that one on Bar TV Sports, of course. Mate Barisic. Paisler. Happy to go back to Lachlan Fields. Raking ball cross field. Kiddy, though, saw it coming. Got a good distance on his clearance header as well.
He's all action, isn't he, Sean Kiddy? Gives you 100%. That's a bit bad touch.
Deng created a 50-50 when it should have been a 80-20 in his favour.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a Woden-Weston ball. Nice try, though.
Nice try, Regan.
Regan Walsh. Didn't get away with that one. It's amazing how often players try that, isn't it?
Got to have a go.
May as well.
Yeah.
See if the assistants are on the mark. Jordan King was there.
Yeah, 100%.
Deng. Ping pass to Paisler. That's a nice ball inside the fullback, and a chance for Manda to get involved, firing it across goal, and Doherty stretching concedes a corner. Nice first involvement for Fakedi Manda.
Yeah, lovely ball inside the fullback, got him into a space, and perhaps might have done better with the ball into the box, but nonetheless, he got in behind and did what he's supposed to do.
Got himself a corner. Selden's gone short at the angle. If Manda wants to use him, which he does. Selden.
Kitty's chased him over.
McEwen lofts it into the area. Nodded down by Di Franceschi. Here's a chance for another, and it is buried.
Send it.
Jay Selden's first goal for Woden-Weston Wanderers, and he has deserved that. And it's wrapped this one up for 3-0.
Yeah, well done to Adam Di Franceschi, who wins that header, keep the ball alive in the box. But Selden, who's looked dangerous all day, gets his just reward, and it's a thumping finish. No chance for Wiseman, and game over. Probably been over quite some time, but certainly at 3-0, there's no coming back.
He's been threatening that goal for a number of weeks, Jay Selden, and he's got himself on the score sheet with 5 minutes to go, and any lingering outside hopes of an unlikely Tuggeranong comeback have been well and truly quashed by that. Struck it nicely.
Took it well. Took it very well.
No chance for Wiseman.
No, but it's he saw a sniff, and his pace got him in front of the defender, and then his technique was spot on.
Third Woden-Weston goal with 5 minutes to play. Seals the deal as far as we're concerned. Trashing the joint here.
No need to go kicking the furniture. I know you were a Tuggeranong boy.
Didn't even see it behind me. Ben, the cameraman's lost his water bottle. I've just booted it. Here's a chance for Kitty to get something back. Swings it into the area. Just not find that final pass, have they?
No. I mean, like we were saying earlier on, I think it's just been emphasised, hasn't it, that this is not a Tuggeranong side that we were used to seeing, and if everybody was available, probably wouldn't be. But they just lack a little bit of guile in the final third.
Well, Kitty's going to launch this one into the penalty area.
It's a good throw.
Got trouble for Lejeune. Didn't get hold of it. Might come out for Bunel, who fizzes one in as well. And the break might be on here for the Wanderers with Paisler. Bunel back to slow it down. Selden might be in behind. He is.
Chance for Barisic now. Can they get Barisic?
Lifted it towards Barisic. Good clearance.
Good header.
Doherty.
Yeah, really good header.
Tuggeranong's turn to bring it forward with Cashmore. Fouled by Vlaslovsky, it looked like, but the referee says shoulder to shoulder. Definitely an arm across, wasn't there?
Yeah. He'd be doing well to get shoulder to shoulder with Vlaslovsky.
Well, shoulder to hip then. Bunel's touch. Felici back into midfield. There's Cashmore. Walsh at the back. Into the final 3 minutes of the contest, plus any stoppage time that Delphina Domoski deems necessary. Manda.
Go on, Cam Doherty. Get forward, Doherty.
Well, Manda left one in on Lawson Moore there. That was a sore one.
Done a couple of knocks today, hasn't he? Been in the walls a bit.
Well, chance for the free kick. Doherty's going to take it.
Shoot.
Lining it up. Tuggeranong have committed 6 to this one when they only committed 3 to the previous corner. It's flung in. Di Franceschi with a towering header away to Manda.
Cool.
Doherty's got in there ahead of him. And it goes down to the challenge of Di Franceschi and gets a free kick on the edge of the box. They're edging closer.
This is it.
Regan Walsh is ambling up to the edge of the penalty area. Cam Doherty's like, give me the ball quick. Is he going to place it, do you think? Walsh is going to have a chat. It's Doherty and Walsh over it.
Oh, he's walking away. I thought he might have pulled seniority.
Regan Walsh. This is Regan Walsh territory, though. You can get these up and down. Doherty's there too. It is Doherty, and he's gone for goal, and it's onto the roof of the net.
Everybody in Queanbeyan was going to go up then.
Cam Doherty looking to end the season on a high. 90 seconds plus stoppage time left of this one.
Wasn't a bad free kick, you know.
Struck it quite nicely, didn't he? Had William Lejeune worried. Big goalie, William Lejeune. You have to do well to get up and over him.
It's off his line a little bit, so it was worth it, right?
Fields. Paisler. Nicely taken in. Manda flicks it back towards Paisler. Good feet from the substitute, and Manda might be away here. The ball beats him to it. It's been a reasonable performance from Woden-Weston. They've not had to do a huge amount.
No, they haven't been fully extended, I don't think, but apart from the first 15 minutes when Tuggeranong started pretty well, it's been a game that Woden can actually look at and say, we deserved it. 3-0's a fair result.
I don't think anyone from Tuggeranong would argue with that either. Kitty sends it forward for Coggan. That's a good ball, and Eddie Coggan up against Di Franceschi, who is in no mood to let the clean sheet slip.
And as solid as a rock, isn't he?
There he is again with a header. Fields nods it away. Vlaslovsky helps it a little bit further from goal. Cashmore snapping in, trying to find Peterkin. Manda back with him. Ewan Peterkin with a left-footed cross. Couldn't wrap his foot around it enough.
No.
Got into a lot of those positions today. Tuggeranong, that final pass hasn't quite been good enough for them.
A lot harder if you don't get people into the right areas of the box, and they really have struggled to do that. I mean, we saw it with the Olympic game, where Olympic, once they'd sort of dropped their heads a bit, stopped making runs into the penalty area, and Tuggeranong all game have really failed to sort of populate the penalty area in an appropriate manner.
We're stoppage time. Time running out here. Won't be too much of it, I wouldn't have thought.
Shouldn't be. Trainers haven't been on the second half. And
doesn't really need to be either, does there, in the context of the situation as well?
You're probably only looking at the standard 2 or 3. I think Delphina's enjoyed this game, though. She's had a look at her watch.
Is there something for Tuggeranong to finish on? Bunel advancing forwards. Wants to find Coggan. Does find Coggan.
That's unlucky.
Franceschi again.
Yeah, he's been solid as a rock defensively.
And he gets himself a free kick. Eddie Coggan was unlucky, wasn't it? Nice touch in field, but Di Franceschi with the thou shalt not pass attitude at the back.
Yeah. And, you know, if you're picking some positives for Tuggeranong, young Busnell in midfield's done very well. And he's kept it going for the 90 minutes. So, you know, 1 or 2 extra players, if they can bring them in, keep some of the senior players fit, and they might do all right next year. Given how close they went anyway to the top 4.
Another look at the watch from Delphina Demoski. Connor Bill descended down the line. Kitty gets her ahead of Selden. Cashmore steps inside of Vlaslovsky. Looks for Felici. Stud away from getting on the end of that. And Lejeune comes a long way to collect. Another glance again from Demoski, and we still play. That's found Mate Barisic. Doherty's header. Barisic beaten to it by Bunel. Peterkin. Space here, if they could find Cashmore, they can't, because Vlaslovsky has it and he wants Selden in over the top, and
too big.
It's skipped away off the surface again, hasn't it?
Right idea, good idea from Vlaslovsky, just didn't have the execution.
Hasn't been spot on in the second half for Woden, but they have scored 3 really good goals today. They can be happy with what they've done. Their run will continue. Before the game, they've been unbeaten in 4. It now goes to 5, and that.
Well, I think that's probably more important than actually playing in a final, whatever you want to call it, next week. It really is about maintaining the momentum for them, because, you know, if anything is going to make them an attractive club.
Well, the final touch of the match goes to Delphina Demoski.
Yeah.
Needs to work on the ball control a bit.
Yeah.
Wasn't the greatest of touches.
No. It saves us doing a non-contested bounce ball. But
Woden-Weston, though, comfortable in the end, Stephen. I mean, like you said, the first 10-15 minutes was probably Tuggeranong's best part of the match, and in the end, though, it's been Woden who've been on top, and those goals came at good times.
Absolutely. Thoroughly deserved victory. 3-0 doesn't flatter them at all. They've been the better team today in Selden. They've had probably the best player on the park. His pace, his trickery, and in the end his finishing has been absolutely superb. Not to take anything away from Barisic, who scored 2 cracking goals, but Tuggeranong, with a largely experimental lineup, gave their best. For 15 minutes they looked good. Once they'd conceded, the game changed completely, and Woden run out very deserved winners, and wish them all the best next week against Monero, and we should be looking forward to a decent game.
It's been a pleasure to have you back up here, Steve. Hopefully it's not too long again before we get to hear you on commentary. It's been great to have you back. Thanks for coming along.
My pleasure. See you next September.
for the bottom four final series part 6. Here it's Woden-Weston who have booked a date with the Monero Panthers next weekend at Deakin Stadium for the bottom four final series, because they've come on top in the Southside derby. Usually it's 2-0 between these two teams. Today it was 3. Mate Barisic got 2 in the first half, Jay Selden adding the 3rd in the second to make it a comfortable win for the Black and Reds. The final score, Tuggeranong United 0, Woden-Weston 3.